Hello, everybody. Are we 5x5 on YouTube? I think Trump 1 says, I see you, Thomas. That's good. We are here. We're ready to go. So much to talk about. I got Brett Collins with me. What's up, Brett?
What's going on, Tom? How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. YouTube is working fine, man. It's smooth as a baby's butt. It's Excellent. Working great. Nice. Picture looks great. Quality's great. Fantastic job with everything to set up.
Excellent day, guys. You know what to do. 5,000 gold pill challenge over there on Pilled. Help out. I know Trump 1 is already started, and I appreciate that so much. Everybody else out there, you know what to do. Cash apps. You see it's scrolling down below. That's the money sign. Stream donation 17, so hit that up. I would really appreciate it. Everybody on Rumble, head on over to YouTube. I'd appreciate that. And just a pickup for everybody, Beyond the Headlines is going to be next Friday, the first day back with Linda Paris. More information on that, but confirmed next Friday, friends, so get stoked on that. And yeah.
What time is that at?
I believe 8 o'clock, 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
Yeah. So we're going to be, I think, so just letting everybody know, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to have a lot to be talking about. So other than that, I mean, we can go ahead and get right into it, man. I can start us off with this. Make sure you follow Brett Collins at We Are Rise. Follow him on all platforms, We Are Rise Show. Do it. You won't be disappointed. Man, there's so much to talk about, Brett, and the shutdown, as you know, has officially ended. The damage of the 43-day Democrat shutdown will not be forgotten, Brett. Missed paychecks, $10+ billion in wages and benefits withheld. Millions of low-income families lost SNAP, flight disruptions, billions wiped from the economy, all to appease the radical left. And guess what? They gained nothing. Let's take a listen.
Shutdown cannot. The damage caused by the Democrats with this reckless government shutdown cannot be forgotten. It is entirely the fault of the Democrat Party. Just look at the vote count. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees have missed their paychecks.
And I'll stop right there. Oh, Thomas, you start and stop so much. But I mean, she makes a great point. You're going to have people on the left, you're going to have people on the center, and you're going to have people center left, and people that just don't care because of family members. How this is President Trump. Just look at the votes. Just look at the votes. It's right there in your face, and that's all you have to look at. Just throwing that out there. If you want physical evidence of whose fault this is, not pointing the fingers, just factual evidence, look at the votes. Continuing.
Billions in wages and benefits were withheld, impacting vulnerable families. Millions of low-income Americans missed their SNAP benefits. Nearly 20,000 flights at airports across the country were delayed due to staffing shortages, causing Americans to miss family events, vacations, and work obligations. According to Airlines for America, an estimated 5.2 million travelers have had their flights disrupted over the course of the Democrat shutdown. And our economy has lost billions and billions of dollars in economic activity over the course of this shutdown, hurting consumer sentiment and crushing the travel and hospitality industries.
So again, yeah, I mean,
the damage caused by the Democrats.
That usually stops right there. Rye Beckloff, good God, turn her audio down. It's her audio, not mine. So yeah, we'll say this. Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay, now I got it back. Okay, so when it comes to all of this, again, there's nowhere to point the finger except the votes. Imagine if this would have gone into the holidays. I really believe that if they would have gone into Thanksgiving travel, further into Christmas travel, into those months, which we're almost there, but let's pushed forward about a month. And if this kept going on and then it came out that this was the Democrats' fault, man, oh man, I mean, the heat would be on them times 100. It would not look good for them. It already looks terrible, but you lead us down a couple more weeks, maybe a month, man, they wouldn't hear the end of it, Brett. Your thoughts on this and the thoughts on President Trump really just kind of, putting the pedal to the metal and getting this thing done, thank God.
Well, I covered the fact that I don't think anybody mentioned that, the 40-day narrative is reflective in the Bible. 40 days Moses came down in the wilderness with the 10 Commandments, Jesus Christ traveling through the desert for 40 days, 40 nights, being tempted by Satan, and Noah's flood. So I thought the day 40 days had some type of biblical reference in some way, because it was an odd number that everybody was talking about. They kept saying 40 days, 40 days, 40 days. And I thought, I was covering that on my show and stuff. What an odd thing to say in regards to that. So I just made that commentary, and a lot of people picked that up as well. And they thought, yeah, is there symmetry there? There might be symmetry there, but in some way, but the self-sabotage, or what you like to use, the self-immolation of the Democrat Party in this matter and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it obviously self-immolation, controlled demolition of themselves. Yeah. I mean, I think personally they wanted to keep this going. There was an actual thing that many different senators behind the scenes were really railing against this. There was a lot of people up for re-election. The senator from Illinois, Jean Shaheen's seat in Maine, she's not running again. Several senators that are going to be up for re-election out of the 32 and open seats. So whether this was part of this or not, and they were getting blowback from their constituents, it didn't matter. They were being led by the wayside by the radical, progressive wing of their party, and they were forced into this submission. And normally they probably would have caved earlier, but I think at this point they wanted to draw it out as much longer. I was concerned about two things. Obviously, military, federal employees not getting paid, federal officers not getting paid per se, and air traffic controllers, the FAA and all that stuff. I was worried about that. I was worried about when they were scaling back all the airlines, scaling back, and now we find out it was a perfect time to do whatever they were doing, to update the antiquated, let's just say, operation of the system that's been there since like the early 80s and stuff. And I think in some way, this was a good time to reflect upon. But the other thing that came to my mind was the idea is that what if they weren't really in control? That they were being forced to do this, and not by the progressives, as we're led to believe. Another greater power was controlling them, forcing them into submission. So they, again, use your term, self-immolate themselves live. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but boxing them into this position one way or another led them down this pathway. And the question is, what came out from that? I mean, 750,000 employees have been furloughed. I mean, there's only been 42% of the numbers that are going to be retained, so to speak. We haven't reached our margin of error from the Reaper, Russ vote, in a lot of ways. So I want to know what's going on behind the scenes. It's not really about the shutdown and snaps. It exposed the snap fraud and all the ridiculousness of all the illegal gotten, let's just say, gains.
If people don't know about that, and I'm sure you've heard of it, but again, it's under that. Again, it's just the self, or not the self, but the government giving handouts. It's just like with, I can't really go into it, but let's just say votes. And again, when it comes to SNAP and it comes to these food stamps, a lot of these people aren't even on planet Earth. Where is this money going to?
Yeah.
I sound like Jerry Seinfeld. What are we doing? What's the problem? Snap.
Yeah.
No one's snapping.
Yeah, it's Snapple. I got it in my fridge.
Snapple. What's under the cap? I want to. Okay,
So
whatever.
funny.
But yeah, again, it's like, again, it's, if you didn't hear about that, that is absolutely unbelievable. Bean from YouTube said, did anybody hear about that Fetterman suffered a heart attack and ended up at the hospital? I had not heard heart attack.
Yeah, he had his pacemaker defibrillated. So basically, it's shorted, and it's there. He's got a pacemaker. My mom just got one, and it's supposed to shock his heart if he goes into AFib or defib, and kind of like the shock machines that they have. And what happened was it didn't work, and he fell and smashed his face, and they took him to the hospital.
Dang.
He might. So either the pacemaker was faulty or it was hacked.
He got too close to a microwave. Something like that.
I mean, electromagnetic. Listen, my mom just got one in, not even like a month and a half ago. It was a scary situation. And there were all these things that I found out about pacemakers, which are really scary. They're all secret and private, and they could be hacked.
Crazy.
Pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah. Let's why is that fitting over there? But that's okay. We'll fix that. Let me get back into this. I like the way that I was doing that just then. All right, let's go ahead and go over to this. I don't know if you've heard about this. Have you read about this? Oh my God, what has just happened? No, I don't want this. What is this? Out of here. That was weird. Okay, yeah, Clinton body count. Anybody heard about this? Epstein's email to disgraced journalist alleges Hillary had a sexual affair with suicided Vince Foster. Allegedly. We have to put that out there for sure. But if you look at it, in the latest twist from the trove of Jeffrey Epstein's emails released by the House Democrats, so anyone out there that wants to come after this channel, I'm just reading an article. That's all I'm doing, a headline. A 2016 message from the convicted, we cannot say that word on here, to disgraced author Michael Wolff appears to allege that thick-ankle Dogface had a sexual affair with former White House Deputy Counsel Vince Foster. The exchange began with Wolff asking Epstein for a thumbnail summary on Nussbaum and Foster, prompting Epstein's response implying an illicit affair between Thick Ankles and Foster. The email dated May 25th, 2016. Good God. She was old. Cryptically stated, Nussbaum, White House counsel, Thick Ankles doing naughties with Vince. This appears to reference Bernard Nussbaum, White House counsel under President Bill Clinton, and Vince Foster, who died under suspicious circumstances since 1993. And I want to say, good for Hillary Clinton. I always thought she was a muff diver, and I'm glad to see that she's not. I'm just gonna go out there and say that. It kind of, back then she's actually a pretty lady, but the whole muff diving thing kind of bothered me. I thought she would just do anything with anybody, but it sounds like maybe not. So I just want to go on the record and say good for Hillary Clinton. I don't really care about this, but it's kind of not good about Vince Foster, where something kind of just happened to him where he unalived himself around this time is quite strange, Brett. Let's go into that a little bit more rather than Hillary Clinton actually, okay.
Well, I'll say this, that the emails that are out there, the Democrats were going to put forward, really is going to showcase a lot of different things. They purposely tried to hide or redact or Guffrey's, who was the witness, who basically was who was raped by Ehud Barak, Jeffrey Epstein, and Prince Andrew. Yes, we know that for a fact. Her book is her own Dead Man Switch, and in so many different ways. But the fact that they're tying Trump, it brings in a lot of people. Trump, Obama, there's like a lot of people that are brought into this and ensnared. The Clintons, both Clintons in some way. So this is going to implode in their face. We know that certain congressmen tried to get the legislation on the floor to open this up. We know Mike Johnson said, the speaker said, next week we're going to have the House vote. It's going to be and we're going to expose all this. We're going to bring this out. Okay. And they tried to smear, tried to do the bagel smear on Trump, but it's not working because even Guffrey in her own testimony and statement said Trump wasn't even around. It wasn't him. It wasn't anything about President Trump. So
Yeah.
they don't have anything. And the fact that they continue on with this schmear,
Well,
it,
we'll
it
get
really
into
doesn't.
that though, brother.
Okay.
We'll get into that. I
What
just
you
wanted
want to say about this? About
what
Vince
I
Paul?
want to say about this is that when you have somebody that is working within the White House council just unalives himself again, it's the body.
Well, the story
count,
behind
the body
Vince.
count.
Well, yeah, I mean, for the younger generation who don't know about Vince Foster, he was found dead not too far away from the White House. All right, with let's just say shotgunned
Yes.
death. I mean, in some way, and it looked like it was staged to be in a suicide. And I'll just leave it at that. You can go look up Vince Foster's death and many different detectives and people, and it was ruled a suicide. But the way the angle was, how many shots of him, how do you shoot yourself
There's no
twice?
fingerprints on the gun.
There's so many different things that happened, and it was during the time of the Clinton presidency.
I'll read it right here. A couple of
go
them.
ahead.
However, the circumstances such as the lack of fingerprints on the gun, inconsistencies with the witness's statements, and the missing bullet have fueled decades of conspiracy theories suggesting foul play by the you-know-whos. The gunshot wound itself raised red flags. Foster was shot once in the mouth with a .38 caliber revolver. The bullet exited through the back of his head. For such a high-powered wound, experts say that they should have been massive blood loss, skull fragments, and brain matter scattered around the body, yet reports describe minimal blood at the scene, just a small trickle from the mouth and nose, with no pooling under the head despite the body lying uphill. There's books about this, A Strange Death of Vincent
It's a Whitewater
Foster.
investigation.
Yes.
So when the Whitewater investigation was going to investigate the house, and there was other investigations that were going on, he ends up unalive, not too far away from the White House, shot to death. So, I mean, was it a message? Probably it was a message. But the question was, a lot of it, no one believed the story. And here we are right now. That starts the whole scenario of what's really taking place with the actual Clintons per se. So when you really look at this right now, are we, I mean, it's just another notch in their belt. And I think exposing this right now is important stuff. How does this pertain to Epstein is quite the entanglement. And I think a lot of these things we're going to find out very soon how much they all, let's just say, equivocate to one another. It's really odd, a circle web that these people are circling right now. That's the best I could say about that. I don't really want to hash the 90s.
No, we're definitely good. Rehash the 90s. I understand. I know where you're going. It's crazy to see it, for sure. I want a big shout out from Max Force for rating the stream. Thank you, Max Force. Appreciate that. Whoever that may be, I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Watch what you guys say in that YouTube chat is all I'm saying. Let me go into this. This is pretty interesting, and then we'll get into some other. We're going to stay on this subject for a little while. All right, Brad, from NJ Truth Ultra. This guy's killing it, by the way. Check this crap out. Michael Wolff, the journalist who we just learned was coaching Epstein on how to gain leverage over a presidential candidate, said in an interview that Epstein was growing suspicious that Donald Trump was the one who informed on him and set the stage for his legal troubles to truly begin. Well, Epstein's legal troubles truly began in March of 2005, and Wolff was appointed in 2004 as a real estate dispute over a Palm Beach mansion. In these newly released emails, ladies and gentlemen, we get this line. The dog, in quote, hasn't barked is Trump. That stuck with me. And then voila, it clicked. The phrase, the dog that hasn't barked, comes from Sherlock Holmes, a story called Silver Blaze. In the story, the stable had a guard dog. On the night of the crime, the dog did not bark, which meant the intruder must have been someone the dog knew. Otherwise, it would have barked. So, who was redacted in that email? Virginia Giuffre. Whose name? Democrats redacted. Epstein wrote he was 75% there, meaning 75% sure it was Trump at the silent informant, with Giuffre as a likely conduit for the tip-off knowledge. This email tells me Epstein was trying to find the leak after a British tabloid started exposing his network, and he was emailing associates to hunt down the source. Then we have attorney Bradley Edwards, who in 2009 praised Donald Trump for being the only subpoenaed person to willingly prove helpful information in the case. Donald Trump was the only person who would pick up the phone. He gave very good information that checked out and was very helpful. Then, just a few months ago, we heard Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, say Trump was an FBI informant trying to take Epstein down. Oopsie. Epstein and Maxwell were finally arrested under the Trump administration. In summary, in Epstein's own words, the timeline, the motive, the silence, the cooperation, the arrests, everything points to one conclusion. Donald Trump was the informant who helped take down one of the most prolific you-know-whats and blackmail operations in American history. A lot of people are going to owe an apology to him when this is all done. Let's take a listen.
Epstein's legal problems began. The police began to investigate him over allegations that he was, that there were underage women coming to his house. Epstein believed that it was Trump who first informed the police about what was going on at Epstein's house. And from that point on, they were nothing but bitter enemies.
And this is what he's telling you. This is one of the instances of what he's telling you.
Yes.
That
So,
the following
yes,
that happened.
that is the version of this related by.
Oh, the hoax yesterday.
What Trump is referring to is the hoax that the Democrats are using to try to attack him. He has never said or suggested or implied. I've talked to him about this many times.
It comes across as he's calling the whole thing a hoax.
It's been misrepresented. He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago. What he's talking about is the Democrats who are doing this with impure motives. If they cared so much about this, why didn't they do something during the 4 years of the Biden administration when the Biden DOJ had all the records? They didn't say a word about it. Now they're doing it for political purposes.
Our current president has had relationships with Epstein in the past, and there are those Katie Johnson and maybe other victims who have accused Trump of being involved in things like this. In my experience, Trump supporters will not listen to anything along those lines. Obviously, we're not a court of law here right now, but are those claims of though that case was dropped, it was dropped before it went to court. In your opinion as a lawyer and your experience, is there anything you can say as to the validity of those claims or whether or not there will be any more about that?
Nothing at all. The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever.
And again, this is under the Obama administration. He said during 2009, I handed out a lot of subpoenas about certain things. And when that happened, President Trump picked up the phone and said, let's talk. I'll tell you whatever you need to know. He said one of very few that did that. Let's continue.
Good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009. So,
do you know if there's any truth to James Patterson's claims that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago?
I've definitely heard that.
Definitely heard that President Trump kicked him out. I want you to realize that the dog hasn't barked is Trump. Virginia spent hours at my house with him. He has never, ever been mentioned. Police chief executive, I was 75% there. That is from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. It's right there. There's the email from 2011 right there in your face. If you can't see it, take a screenshot. It'll last longer. And that's where we stand with this, which is crazy. So again, Brett, if you want to get into this, we really need to, because it's very, very crazy. And we're going to get into what the left says as well about all of this. So your thoughts on this?
Well, if he was a confidential informant for the FBI before he was president,
sure,
before Jeffrey Epstein's, let's just say, arrest back in what, 2008, 9, so to speak, where in Palm Beach, if he was a confidential informant in some way, wouldn't that information be somewhat protected, classified in some way?
You would imagine.
And now that it's president, it's being held back. I mean, there's a variety of people saying, why is Boebert in a room with Bondi and Patel and Bongino? They're trying to cover it up, trying to do this. And that's all those grievance entrepreneurs, all those people on X saying there's something not right. It's all salacious. They're covering up for Trump in some way. But you have to look at back that if President Trump, before President Trump existed, that Donald Trump was some type of informant for the FBI, or some type of, let's just say, I'm not going to say a rat, but he could have been a confidential informant infiltrating a lot of different types of organizations, because whether it's the mob or many other different scenarios, that he was utilizing his name, his wealth, his recognition to get involved in some way. Or maybe they came to him and asked him, hey, would you like to help us out here right now? We have a problem. Have you thought about that? I don't think so. But this might be so classified because it goes international in some way. And so, again, the levers...
Of course it goes international.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and I know where you're getting at with that, for sure.
Right. So the problem is that the reason why President Trump is being hammered about this, because they like to make it look like a cover-up, but the cover-up is not there. They can't prove a cover-up. Guffrey is already, with her book, it's Dead Man Switch, has already said and then all these other text messages and all this stuff. The Democrats can play redact or cover up or subversion, because they're only doing it because the government's reopened, and they have to find a way to blind people about their reasoning and rationale of shutting down the government. That's the only reason. That's the prima facie case. Throw as much dirt as you can so the media picks up with it. Mediaite, Axios, CNN, run with these articles, The Atlantic, stick it to them as much as they can so they can deflect of what they just did by reopening the government. I think that is painstakingly obvious. I don't think anybody's buying it, but this is another hoax 2.0. But it's not just that. The fact is that you have the Tennessee congressman just puts out last night, and he's all over today saying, yeah, I put a bill on the floor. Let's get it on the House floor, blah, blah. And the Democrats blocked it. All about Epstein. They're really not in the business about really exposing Epstein. They're in the business of bagel smearing President Trump, okay, with Epstein, all right? And now it's turned out that they've dragged other people in, unfortunately, for them, because what it is that other people's names are now floating in and out of this this vacuous, or non-vacuous state of just malinformation that they try to persuade people to convince that it's not true, it is true. See, the problem is that there's so many different things, prevailing arguments about Epstein. We just don't know. We can't nail it down. You got so many people just running with A, running with B, running with C, and some people are just all over the place. I don't think you can nail anything down per se, other than what the House did. Comer, the oversight is done. 23,000 pages were released. There's just information left and right. But again, you want to blame Bondi and Kash Patel. I believe President Trump was a confidential informant for the FBI that might go international, that crosses such a security level that only certain things can be read in and out to a certain group of people, maybe in a skiff or not. I don't know if we're going to get all this stuff and where it's going to go. That's the problem in so many different ways. We don't know if it goes to Great Britain, which it might. Think about that, what's going on with the UK. I also think
Prince Andrew, for God's sake.
Yeah, and think about where it goes to other state actors. The problem is and stuff, it's hard to declassify information that is classified at a high level because it goes to a certain level of, let's just say, you know, international, or we're getting into the level of something that is top secret or above top secret because
it's such a massive.
It's an international spy operation as well as a trafficking organization.
The network
as well as
is huge. The spider web is, you know, something that I don't even think we could wrap our minds around. And I think that's what they're, which I think, you know, you could see big names like Steven Crowder and many others just saying, just release the damn information. Release all of it.
It's not that simple.
See, not.
The thing is, because when you peel back the layers, you know, all these people, again, I call them grievance entrepreneurs because they're those are the influencers who are not MAGA. They are make-believe MAGA. They're weeble wobbles. They pretend to be MAGA. And then as soon as one thing President Trump says, like the H-1B visa, they're like, you know, Christopher Lloyd. Oh, Marty, everything is just going batshit crazy. They can't handle it. And they do it purposely. It's all a scam. We just don't know the deep dark. It might be, that's why Comer has only put out so much information. And he's basically said, this goes into other things that might be more classified than we realized. Why did he say that? More classified than we realized? How far does this go back to President Trump being involved or Donald J. Trump being involved? And now that he's president, we have to protect the information because as president, if this is international, this is far bigger, and that will affect his what? His foreign policy, his economic policy,
international conflicts,
everything. So they have to gingerly walk this through. This is not him banging young girls. It has nothing to do with that, but that's what they want you to see. What it is the foreign entanglements, okay, that goes back to the Clintons, the Clinton Foundation, and Obama with the hot dogs, and many other different groups, all right, before President Trump even, let's just say, smelt the White House. You know, it's like a dog walking around pissing on the pissing outside on the lawn, or just smelling what's out there. He wasn't even involved. So you have to be careful because now he's president, that this information that comes out will affect a great many people and could get other people killed because they have other confidential informants that were involved with this stuff to bring down a network of operation that is far more expansive than Epstein Island, Hollywood, and the international entanglements that lead back to certain state actors, Five Eyes, Israel, and many others.
Renee Nelson says that's the reason they keep trying to kill him. Because of the network entanglement of international conflicts and other powerful people being brought down. Is that the main reason that they keep trying to kill him?
Well, the Ukraine thing is, I think the guy that just got sent to prison. Yeah, just got sent to prison in Fort Pierce. I think that's tied to an other scenario from Ukraine and other. The information about that, the second shooter from Palm Beach, is limited as well. You only know about what happened in the trial, and that guy was a dupe, a plant. But as for the original shooter in Butler, it's all done. It's all tied together, whether there are other corporate entities involved about doing this, and there are negative, let's just say, deep, dark money flowing from the back end to do this, or this was staged in some way. But a lot of people like to say that, hey, I don't believe all this stuff. I think this was purposely set up and him surviving this. Well, 3 or 4 people were shot, 1 died. And so you can't counter the argument by saying President Trump staged this to protect himself in some way. We have to move off of that narrative. But the guy who actually was supposedly the shooter is dead, and so there were no discussions of that. We have less information. We have less information about that. We have just as much information about the Charlie Kirk shooter, about the same guy that tried to kill President Trump. So what does that tell you? I mean, I understand that all this stuff is tied to international or transnational corporations. What do you think we're in Venezuela? You think it's just because it's drug running? It's transnational, trans corporations that are involved with diamond trafficking. It's bigger than and they are the purveyors, the provocators that are doing all these different things. What if I told you a major corporation is one of the largest drug dealing operations out there? So behind the scenes, they're doing all these, legitimate things, but behind the scenes, they operate outside of this to do all these other things.
Right.
That's what's going on in Venezuela. That's what's going on in Colombia. And that's why Pacent said to Brian Kilmeade on Fox News, look, we gave Argentina, Milei, $20 billion as a money line, okay? So we don't have to go down there and fight the wars down there. It's your job. You pay us interest on that note every freaking month or whatever it is or whatever we want. And if you don't, you're done. And I think that's how President Trump operates down there. Colombia, Chile, Venezuela, many other Latin American, Southern Hemisphere countries right now are going to go through an expose, and you're going to find out Chinese involvement, transnational corporations, all these things. We have to make sure we put our foot in their ass to stop all the craziness because it's at our back door, Thomas.
No, I agree when it comes to all of that. And again, that all circumferences everything that's going on. These networks of just debauchery, whether it's drugs, whether it's trafficking, whether it's money laundering. Well, it doesn't even matter. It's everything that you can imagine that is debauchery is encased in all of this. Getting back into this part right here from our friend. I was hired to lead Jeffrey Epstein's defense as his criminal lawyer 9 days before he died. He sought my advice for months before that. I could say authoritatively, unequivocally, and definitively that he had no information to hurt President Trump. I specifically asked him. David Schoen consulted with Jeffrey Epstein in person and by phone multiple times while Epstein was in jail in 2019. During those private conversations, Schoen directly asked Epstein if he had any information that could hurt Donald Trump. Epstein said no, he had nothing whatsoever. Schoen was considered taking over as lead defense counsel 9 days before Epstein's death, but was never formally agreed, and Epstein died before a decision was made. And again, going back to what we were just talking about, this is the video that I just showed everybody. Again, so let me get this straight. With the release of the Epstein emails, we found out that Epstein hated Trump. That's what we just saw from that gentleman in 2009. He just said that live on television, wherever that was. He didn't trust Trump. They weren't friends. The New York Times directly worked with Epstein to suppress stories about him. After Bradley Edwards, the lawyer for accusers, said that Trump was the only individual to cooperate and help, Epstein said Trump didn't have one decent cell in his body. This was also compelling that the Democrats faked the redaction of a supposed victim's name. The name they blocked was Virginia Giuffre, who publicly testified that Trump was innocent. Oh, and also, Russiagate was confirmed a hoax, just like we said. How dumb are these Democrats? And President Trump posted this yesterday afternoon. In other words, the Democrats are using the Jeffrey Epstein hoax to try and deflect from their massive failures. In particular, their most recent one, the shutdown. It's just tit for tat, back and forth, back and forth. How many lies, how many things do they have to do before these people are taken down? The division that they have caused, the horrible things that they have done to this nation is unbelievable. And we could get into this. I'll play one video and then we'll get into it, Brett. This is what the left is saying right here of the redacted Jeffrey Epstein victim.
2011. This is an email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans are saying that that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted.
Why is that funny?
And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand,
Okay,
but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
And then there you go. I mean, they're just going to continue to run this narrative over and over and over and over again. And again, they go even lower. I have to even play this just to get everyone fired up. We've all seen the photos of underage girls sitting on Trump's lap. My God.
This should be raising every hair on the back of your neck right now. We don't even know that that is who is named in this email. Secondly, whether or not Virginia Giuffre has accused the president of wrongdoing, what I'd like to say to the American people is believe your eyes. We have all seen the photographs of Donald Trump with underage girls sitting on his lap. We know that he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for more than a decade. We know that he has not complied with our congressional subpoena of the DOJ files, and we know that he is named multiple times in those files. So believe your eyes, believe your ears. And my question is, if they were not engaged in an elaborate smokescreen and cover-up, then why the hell is the president calling and threatening members of Congress for them to not take a vote on releasing these files after these files have already been subpoenaed? They are trying to bury this, and the president is personally trying to stop Congress from asking for these files again.
And I do want to ask you about that, because it is unusual that Lauren Boebert is there for this meeting. But first, just to really zoom in on this redacted name here. So are you of the belief that the victim that Epstein is alleging Trump spent time with at his house is someone besides Virginia Giuffre, or could be someone besides Virginia Giuffre?
I do not have information that would allow me to answer that question. What I know is that we've received 23,000 documents from the Jeffrey Epstein estate, including this email.
Okay, but then let me zero in on this real quick. Can I just ask you this? So you do not have knowledge that tells you that is Virginia Giuffre?
Absolutely not.
And it blew up in their face. All they do is they do this thing where they say, well, believe your eyes, believe your feelings. Do you understand that that is absolute propaganda? Just believe what we're telling you. You saw young women sitting on Trump's lap. Ooh, I mean, I think the only one that I saw was Ivanka Trump when she was a child sitting on her father's lap. That's all. That's the only thing that I've seen. And I've been doing this for almost a decade. That's the only thing that I've ever seen. I've seen Hunter Biden doing some pretty crazy gnarly stuff when it comes to younger women. I'm not going to get into that, but I think you've all seen that picture. I know Brett has. So the commentator from CNN has said, so you name, we don't know if it's Virginia Giuffre. We don't know if it's her. The woman says it is not. And then she comes back, the reporter, and says, so what you're telling me is that you don't know if it is or isn't Virginia Giuffre? And she goes, that is correct. Mm-hmm. You just conflicted what you just said. It makes no sense. You literally are conflicting everything you just said. It's unbelievable, Brett. These people are very stupid.
Well, they're allowed to lie, so they're just toting a line. They're just using all the stuff that's
everything she just said.
Right, of course. They're using everything that was dropped by the Oversight Committee, and the people, the Democrats that sit on there, are using this to tweak this. All right, what they want to get to, and I do believe in some way, is that why they're pushing this narrative. It's because I do believe that they think, or at least some people think, they want the information that may be curtailed or classified regarding President Trump or Donald J. Trump as a confidential informant for the FBI. And they want to use that in some way to smear President Trump, because they're going to say this: well, you're a confidential informant for the FBI, okay? But you're railing against all these confidential informants at January 6th, about what, 200 plus that were there to do something right now. I think that there is some modus operandi to conflate that in some way. That was something that I was thinking about. And then I heard a narrative being discussed in some way. What would they be doing in some way to consider that? If that came out that he was the one that approached the FBI or he approached the FBI, all right, what would that say? Would that basically undercut the level of conversation President Trump's had for maybe decades with the government, the FBI, intelligence services, feeding information out there? I mean, how would they paint him in some way? And would also undercut the idea is that was he getting favors from them to help bring down organizations of criminal mafiosos and what have you?
Could be.
I think that you have to walk a tightrope on this because it's now that President Trump is president, has been president for a very long time. You'd have to consider that a lot of this information that they want to pull out and then smear him and stuff and then call him all these different things. You have to be careful about the timescape where he was involved with these things before he was president. And you have to nix all the, let's just say, the handlers and all these other people behind. We don't know in any fashion about what his relationship was with federal authorities helping to bring down the mob in Atlantic City or helping to bring down these pedivores like Jeffrey Epstein and many other stuff. But I think it's far more pervasive. It's far more permeating. It's far more extensive than we can possibly know. And it leads into other things. And I
believe it leads into the mainstream media as well.
Yeah.
Bigly.
And absolutely. And he's got to be careful because now as president, it walks a tightrope of his foreign policy and could impact his policy in some way. And so you don't want to deviate and allow information to be like, well, he wasn't president at that time, let's just let it out. Well, yes, it will affect his foreign policy today because if it connects to foreign actors that will be named later on or state actors, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem for his tariff scenario. That's going to be a problem what he's doing right now. So, of course, Kash Patel, the NCA, the NSA, many other intelligence, the ODNI, and Pam Bondi have to walk a tightrope about the information that will be allowed out, not to cover other people's asses. They're going to allow everybody to see all this stuff. We're talking about President Trump's, let's just say, reality as an independent, non-governmental agency, agent for the government in any way, just American citizen that was doing his due diligence to help facilitate an organization, which now could be even more cumbersome that he's seen. Think about that. Do you understand? Think about if many other billionaires were that, let's just say, honest and decent to help, and there probably are. Elon Musk might be that guy. I mean, I'm sure he's seen things inside that he knows what's going on. Hell, President Trump brought him into the fold. You'd have to think in some way he knows what's going on. Why did he buy Twitter? If he's such a bad guy, why did he buy Twitter? You don't think he was forced to buy Twitter, or you think that he did it on his own good graces?
I think he did it on his own good graces. But I will say this. I mean, you start talking about if you release all this information and diplomats go down, corporations go down, because I don't know.
It connects to so many different things. I know,
but then you're going to start seeing more attempts on President Trump. You're going to start seeing mercenaries.
Yeah, you're going to
that are from foreign governments, foreign governments, from inside America, wherever it may be. I mean, he flies international all the time. There's where he is. He's out in public sometimes.
Think about half the Middle East being involved with this. Half the Middle East being involved with this.
100%.
Let's just say half, or let's just say a third. It's not just Israel.
Very dangerous.
UK, our own allies. As President Trump said to Laura Ingraham, that our own allies are not our allies. China is a better ally than our own allies. Think about what they did for 2020, and I'll leave it at that. And 2024, that the UK now and the BBC are responsible for to help what? to bring down that election. Yes, to subvert it. And that's all coming out right now. So just because they're allies doesn't mean they're our friends. It means they're our neighbors, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? What I mean by that?
A bad
They're just our neighbor. All right? Yeah. A bad neighbor who gives you bad sugar.
Let's go ahead and listen to listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a Chris Cuomo fan. I find him to be very unintelligent when he did the interviews with Tucker Carlson. He makes one point that I agree with, and I said this before. It's not if you're Republican, it's not if you're a Democrat. It's really about just understanding what in the hell is right in front of you. He calls out both sides. He's playing that. I understand he wants ratings. It's very clickbaity, I feel. But he does have a good point in this. Take a listen. They lie on both the right and the left. We mentioned Steven Crowder. Not saying he's a liar. I'm just saying, but some of these people put out information. Just release the damn stuff. Just put it out there. Well, it's not that easy, as Brett Collins said. Let's take a listen.
They don't really have the acumen to understand the layers that are involved here.
The Epstein emails, anyone who's telling you this is huge is a liar. Anybody who's telling you this is it, here we go, Trump's going down, is full of shit and just doing clickbait. Now, here's what I've always said about Epstein, and I have a lot of deep sourcing in and around this, okay? What Bongino, what Kash Patel, and now what Ro Khanna and all the guys on the left, they're all full of shit, and they're playing you. And here's what sucks about it. There's no client list. There's no videos of powerful Democrats or powerful Republicans. There's none of that. It would all come out. They've sealed some names and some suggestions, and that should be fought in court, and they should fight to get them unsealed, and all the files should be released. Release the files. But know this, they lied on the right, and they lied on the left, and they did it for advantage, and they did it because these were real young women who were really done dirty by a scumbag who should go to hell. And he had an accomplice. And there may have been more. Or they've been lying all along. Either way, release all the files. Release it. Look, this is time because the shutdown is ending and the Democrats want a new point of outrage because they're riding a populist wave. And that's what Epstein is for them. Same way they were ducking it before when it was Trump's guys doing it to motivate MAGA. But anyone who's telling you right now, oh, this is big, I've never seen them this scared, that person is full of shit. And I say release all the files, and then you'll see what there was there and what people knew wasn't there. And then you'll know what to trust, who to trust, and who to tell to fuck off.
To fuck off. What do you think about that, Brett? I mean, that's he does have some good points in that little rant that he just did. I'll give it to him.
I get, but I understand what he's saying. I just don't necessarily. First of all, if Boebert is saying that, because a lot of people saying she was pressured by Bongino and Cash and Todd Blanche and Bondi and stuff, and she admitted she was walking around saying, no, that's not true, that they had a powwow, they didn't want to push this in some way. You know, it looks nefarious. Obviously, it looks like, why? Maybe there's going to be an actual time stamp where this information comes out at the perfect time, and it's not now. Speaker Johnson saying, look, we've tabled this stuff now. We just opened the government. We got to pass CR. We got all these stuff. Next week, we'll bring this up to the floor. Okay? This is going to come up. Burchett tried to drop it yesterday, and it was blocked by the Democrats. Blocked by the Democrats. The same people are accusing President Trump. Why? Because there are many people involved that could be Democrats. They're only using this as what? As an artifice to showcase in some way, hey, it's them. This is why President Trump shut down the government, which it's not true. Everything they're doing is failing. It's falling by the wayside. There's going to be an ample time, I believe, that the information will be released that will have some of President Trump's, let's just say, dealings with as a confidential informant before he was president that they will probably put out, but they'll give it to Comer to drop on his oversight committee, because that's probably where it should be put out, not like streamlined in the House by a special committee and then drop this out through people discussing it. So you bring in Kash Patel. He wasn't there at that time. He's going to look at this stuff. We have the files, or we have this, we have that, and then, let that be known. I don't know if they want to let that be known at the moment, but the idea that he was involved with some type of investigation with certain agencies, or let's just say deep, dark agencies, to bring down not just the mafioso, child trafficking, international trafficking per se, or what have you. We don't know how long he has been involved in some way. And does it benefit President Trump for that information to come out if it affects other state actors? That's what I'll continue on. But the other thing is, how are you going to gingerly walk this out if that was true to begin with? You're going to have his information before he was president that he was involved about alerting the authorities as he's admitted, and that Speaker Johnson had to walk back that he was a government informant, because he did walk that back, because he said President Trump told him, and he walked it back. And I wonder why he walked that back. Did he walk it back because A, he lied, or B, he was told to walk it back? I think it was B. So I think that the idea that a lot of these people are seeing some of the information, are being caught up with the ideas that Donald J. Trump was involved at a high level with many different agencies to bring down certain networks, because he was being utilized as a billionaire, as being somebody that was utilized to get into the inner circles like Bruce Wayne, so to speak, to see all the garbage, all the nonsense, and to help facilitate these takedowns. I think it's possible. It's more than likely. But how does that affect him now? You have to really separate then and now, because if it was that his influence helped bring down certain bad actors that were involved with state actors that aren't operating more, or behind the scenes that we're not privy to, you would have to be careful, because he's president of the United States. How does that undercut his foreign influence and foreign policy? The Supreme Court is ruling on very soon the IEEP, the tariffs, the economic policy, Article 2 powers versus the House powers on taxes, and how they conflate that, and what President Trump and Scott Bessent say economic security is national security. And this is no different from it. The paradox and the contradictory discussions that go on are equivalent to the fact is that they're all tied together. President Trump puts two competing or non-competing thoughts out there for you to get behind, just like what happened with Laura Ingraham. He changes and flexes his position all the time, and he wants a response. It shows he lives and operates in the gray, not in absolutes. And those absolutes are what bind you from being on X that blow your hair out on fire because you freak out. H-1B is going off the rails. We're going to import more Jeets and Chinese and Koreans and Filipinos and all these people that you don't want in this country.
Indians.
I know we're getting rid of. Yeah, and I said Jeets, Indians. So yeah, we get rid. Excuse me. Yeah, we get rid of it. And then what he said? We don't have skilled workers, and you didn't listen to what he said. You listened to his verbiage, but you didn't listen to what he was actually trying to say. We don't have the clientele, the prospect of security, or the people that are going to come in to do the jobs. We can't just move people from A, B, and C to make missiles. We can't have A, B, and C to do this. It's not like we can move people that had closed plants that worked on a factory to move into Toyota or other companies that are coming in to manufacture in this way. It's not that simple. And over a decade or two, look what we've dealt with. Anyway, getting back to my point, President Trump operates so fluently in this matter. And I think that people really, really need to reflect upon this and not take him at his face value all the time. And I think in some way, he is far more, let's just say, involved with a lot of this stuff before he became president. And it's so deep, it's so dark, and it's so secret, they can't release it. I think so. And I think that he's the progenitor for these types of infiltration that's been going on. And he's been, let's just say, in the know for a long time about our FBI, our agencies, and all the stuff that's been going on with this criminality and this widespread fraud in some way. And they knew in 2016, if he gets in, why is Hillary Clinton said, yeah, if I go down, you all go down. They all knew in some way. Maybe they had an understanding in some way. I don't know what Comey knows. I'd like to hear what Comey knows about President Trump because they were listening to him in 15 and 16 stuff. But what if his operation was so clandestine, hidden away, so deep dark that a lot of people didn't realize that he was invested in this with other agencies that are outside the government that were tackling this problem? That is what they cannot and will not uncover, or let's just put it this way, put out. And then I think, because I think it's so far outside these agencies, which have been totally been captured in some way. I think that whoever he was working with behind the scenes were doing this in the deep dark, and they were feeding this information to certain people that they felt was good to bring down Epstein, to bring down the mob, to bring down all these other groups and stuff. And his connection with Giuliani is not a coincidence at all.
No, I agree.
No, that's all I'm saying.
I want to get to some thank yous really quick. Everybody on Pill, thank you so much. Trump 1, thank you for the cookie. Silent Runner 17 with the cookie. Jack Attack 17 with the cookie. Sean Joe with the can. Thank you so much. Sean Joe gifting a 6-month bronze tier subscription. Trusty Turnip picking that up. Thank you so much, Sean Joe. I appreciate that. Boneless Chicken with the phone. Let's go. And miss the greatest name in the game, Judy the Lady Pug. Thank you so much for the cookie. Curious Cat with the cookie as well. Thank you guys so much. You also can hit up the stream donation 17 over there on Snapchat. Stream donations 17. Let's take a quick commercial break. I got to get these in. And we thank Noble Gold Investments for being a part of this show. As we wrap up 2025, it's a good time to slow down and reflect on the year. If there's one thing we've all learned, it's that uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal, it isn't a plan, it's a gamble. For over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves and the people that they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Look, no one knows what 2026 will bring, but one thing is for sure. In an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. So when you're sitting around the table this holiday season surrounded by family members, the best gift that you can give them isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. And that's what Noble Gold delivers, peace of mind, 1 ounce at a time. Before the year ends, take one smart step toward a safer future. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Don't leave your future to chance. This holiday season, when you open a qualified account with Noble Gold Investments, you'll receive 10 1-ounce commemorative solid holiday coins, each beautifully designed with a jolly snowman and a warm season's greetings engraving. These limited edition silver coins make thoughtful gifts for friends and family, or a unique addition to your own collection. They're a joyful way to celebrate the season and invest in something real. As we wrap up 2025, one thing's clear: uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to, in quote, normal isn't a plan, it's a gamble. That's why Noble Gold Investments helps Americans protect what they've built with real gold and silver that hold value when everything else feels uncertain. So this holiday season, remember, the best gift that you can give your family is not under the tree, it's peace of mind. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. noblegoldinvestments.com. And we're back. Thank you for that. Thanks to Noble Gold. Grab those coins, guys. These are badass. They're sending me some. And I'm just going to gift those out. I might gift those to one of you folks out there.
Those videos are awesome, man. I mean, the AI videos or whatever it is that they do, it's beautifully done.
Yeah, well, no, I made those.
Oh, you made those?
Yeah.
You did that? Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, I had to do all that. Yeah. That's what
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It looks really
took
good.
forever.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay. What did you use to do that? I mean, that was just beautiful. I mean, they look I thought it's like Noble Gold, is this their video and stuff? Like, wow, and your advertise, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's tough.
Dude.
I mean, altogether, that is 2 minutes long. That probably took me 4 hours.
If I'm Noble Gold, I'm calling you, Thompson, saying, man.
Grab those coins.
Yeah,
Grab
that's
those
fantastic.
coins.
That's a great video.
Yeah.
Look how beautiful that looks. Good job.
Thanks,
Good
dude.
job.
Grab those coins, and I might give some to somebody. I think they send me 2 for free.
Mm-hmm.
So I might send some out to some people in the chat. Again, Jack Attack says, fuck off, Fredo. That's hilarious. Should we go into the burning bags and the skiff at the FBI? Cash Patel, Dan Bongino just found very damning burn bags in the skiff. You want to go into that? It's about if you want to do that, or we could go into one more thing. So yeah, let's just listen to this. This is interesting, and I haven't heard all of it, so let's do this.
To any reference to the now discredited Clinton-funded Steele dossier in the ICA. When confronted about the Steele dossier's many flaws, Brennan said, yes, but doesn't it ring true, according to the report? The New York Post reporting, quote, the people targeted by the subpoenas are seen as part of the conspiracy that peddled claims President Trump's campaign colluded with the Russian government ahead of the 2016 election. We spoke with lawyer and founder of the Article 3 Project, Mike Davis, on the significance of these subpoenas and what could be coming next.
I have pushed very publicly for over 3 years for that Fort Pierce grand jury to investigate all of this criminal misconduct by Obama, Biden, Hillary, the Attorney General, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Weissman, Jay Bratt, Jack Smith, Fani Willis, Tish James, all of these lawfare Democrats who politicized and weaponized law enforcement and intel agencies to go after Trump, his top aides, his allies, his supporters.
Davis, a good friend of U.S. Attorney Jason Redding Quinones for the Southern District of Florida, who is overseeing the probe, on what the reported scope of the subpoenas indicates about the investigation.
If MSNBC's reporting is accurate, that would indicate that these initial subpoenas are looking at the Russian collusion hoax at the end of the Obama administration and at the beginning of the Trump administration. And so I think that's going to be a piece of this investigation, but I think this investigation should be much broader than that, and I anticipate that it will be much broader than that. I think it's going to cover this ongoing criminal conspiracy over the last 8 years.
Wow.
As far as the possible crimes the targets of the investigation may have committed, Davis pointing to 18 U.S.C. Section 241, Conspiracy Against Rights.
Congress enacted the federal criminal statute of conspiracy against rights to the Civil War to take down the Klan. When people conspire to violate the constitutional rights of Americans, they are committing a very serious federal civil rights felony. The advantage to conspiracy against rights is it is a very broad statute, and there is an ongoing criminal conspiracy, meaning the federal statute of limitations of 5 years that generally applies to almost all federal crimes would not save these lawfare Democrats because the conspiracy is ongoing. Covering up a conspiracy continues the conspiracy. The conspiracy has not ended because they're actively trying to cover it up. They're lying about it. They're obstructing the investigations.
That's very interesting. And a lot of people, you're going to come into contact with people on X, it may be in real life, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. Where they say, no, it's statute of limitations. Like they want criminals to get away with it. That's how sadistic these people are. But guess what? If it breaches the statute of limitation, just like Mike Davis was saying, covering up a former conspiracy continues the conspiracy. It's the same thing. It's just covering up the lie over and over and over and over again. So it's still attached to the 5 to 8 years that they've been doing this, to the 5 years of doing this. It's just attaching itself. They're basically kicking they had their own foot up their own ass.
I don't think it ended since 15, personally. 15, 16,
well,
17.
That's what he's saying. It doesn't
Yeah, I think
end.
it's been going on for over 10 years. And they tried to use Five Eyes. UK is now getting caught up in the 2024 election. We're finding that out with other things. That's going to break. I think that there are other key analysis of going on about 2020, about all the other fraud that took place around that time. We see that, the videos that are recirculating out about Raffensperger talking about President Trump won Georgia in 2020. That's recirculating out. And then everything that's going on. We're also talking about the Supreme Court that's coming out.
Sure.
They have multiple right now decisions that are going to be made regarding the ballots, mail-in ballots and what have you, one-day voting, all these different things. All these things that the House should be doing if we had a filibuster. If the filibuster was there, all these things would be codified. His executive orders would be codified. But none of these things are getting done because the Senate's slow walking them. They're not MAGA. The House, there may be some people in there are decent. I know a lot of people don't like Johnson in some way, but Johnson's been a good ally to President Trump, whether you believe that or not. You could have had McCarthy and tell me that guy would have been worse. Okay?
Well,
So
he's
keep
coming
that in
back up now. He's coming back up as being blackmailed and all these sorts of a lot of bad
He's
things.
cheating on his wife. He's
I understand that, but I'm
sexual
talking
orgies.
about that there are bad things that have happened to him to make him step down that were out of his hands, that they circumvented things on McCarthy as well. Not saying he's a good guy or anything like that.
And so he was forced to do all these things about President Trump.
Correct, to go
And
against the grain.
Right. And during 2021, what did he say? When he was wearing his mask before he became speaker, when they supposedly fraudulently took the election away from Donald Trump. What did they do? He goes, about January 6th. Yeah, President Trump is in violation of these laws. And then the BBC had used this stuff. Not only from that time, they also did the stuff in 2024. So look, as everything is being exposed, as we go through all these different things that are happening in some way, and while you're freaking out about such nonsensical stuff that don't affect you, like H-1B visas, if you think it really affects you and that's a hill you want to die on, go for it, okay? Go scream bloody hell and go.
Well, we're talking about this.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is this stuff, focus on what's really important, what's right in the moment. And what's in the moment,
which is what we talked about on Tuesday.
We have 90 days with this government opening, 90 days before a certain scenario takes place again, before another shutdown. All right. And I think in some way, this is going to change everything. Will we get the filibuster at that time? What will take place after that? What's going to unfold with the House right now? Are they going to pass a clean CR? Are they going to pass certain things going forward? Are they going to pass election integrity without the filibuster? Where are they in this matter? And also, you got to think about everything that's looming, that they're trying to say to doom you out from saying 2026 is over. They have won. How did they win? They just capitulated. And
we're not
Schumer's
even there
going to
yet.
be gone. He's not going to be He's not going to be the minority leader.
No.
They're going to vote him out next year.
Gone.
He will not be the minority. He'll be lucky if he stays minority leader until the end of the year. But he'll be gone next year when all these other things come up to play. The idea that we spin our wheels and waste our time and such nonsense, Thomas, has gotten out of control, and we're not really focused on the meat and the potatoes about what's happening and stuff. I mean, I just think that we have to move forward. What's going on with fixing our airline, our airports, air infrastructure on the air traffic controllers and the system in general. We have to worry about the scope about, I think, potential FFs that are going to be incoming right now. You have to think about right now. They just, I just believe right now the Supreme Court just ruled that President Trump can go forward on putting military or what have you into the streets of Chicago. President Trump has executive orders that are going on. He labeled Antifa as...
I'll get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's finish this really quick.
The showdown is coming this year.
Yes. And I agree. Somebody said, well, next year. No. And I said, no, I don't believe so.
No.
I believe it's coming up now.
The statute of limitations on criminal conspiracy expires after 5 years, and the reported scope of these subpoenas falls well outside of that limit. Davis explaining here why he believes Quinones has room to maneuver.
The statute of limitations does not begin to toll until the conspiracy has ended. You
Correct.
have to disavow the conspiracy to end the conspiracy, and then you have 5 years from when the conspiracy ends to bring these federal charges for
It's
conspiracy
ongoing.
against rights. But when you cover up a conspiracy, you continue the conspiracy. Every person who politicized and weaponized intel agencies and law enforcement to take out their political enemies for non-crimes could be subjected to this criminal conspiracy against rights investigation that apparently is being led out of the Southern District of Florida.
Critics of these subpoenas say Russiagate has already been investigated twice, once by special counsel John Durham and once by DOJ Inspector General Michael Horowitz. No high-ranking officials charged in the aftermath of either probe. We asked Davis about that.
Number one, I would say to these lawfare Democrats, if there's nothing here, they have nothing to worry about. Number two, I would say to these lawfare Democrats, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, working with Senator Chuck Grassley, just found very damning records in burn bags and a skiff at the FBI. So they just discovered that new evidence that was never considered before, and there's probably much more evidence that was never considered before. These investigations in the past were not taken seriously enough, and that's obvious by the fact that they found these records in burn bags that are so damning.
So again, just to kind of bring this full circle to everybody on what we just listened to right here from Mike Davis, as you can see. The clock will not save lawfare Democrats violating 18 U.S.C. Code 241. The clock starts when the conspiracy ends. I think we've justified that. Cover-ups extend the conspiracy. Obstruction extends the conspiracy. Lies extend the conspiracy. This is all lawyer talk, and it makes sense, and he's simplifying it for everyone out there. If nothing's there, then they should relax. He just got done saying that at the end of the video. But new records have surfaced. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino found damning files, pulling them from the FBI burn bags in hidden storage rooms. Prior probes missed them. They did not. It's time to buckle up, he says. And that's where we lay. As of this moment in time, right now, this is where the conspiracy lies. Crazy.
Well, that's probably why we're seeing more indictments that are going to happen by the end of this year. I mean, as we're told, 150. I mean, that's going to be insane. I mean, it's going to be insane. How fast are these trials going to go? I mean, in some way, I was asking that question the other day. Are they really going to be trials or something else? I don't know. Because you can't wait years upon years for trials to be so, slow and meticulous in some way. You need to move them fast so that people can see that action is being taken, and there's going to be a verdict in the end within a timeline of a human life. We can't slow walk this thing anymore. It's become to the point is that there are many people at the end of their rope. What they see with what's going on is that They're not seeing everything. We're not seeing anything. And they're bitching and moaning. And again, working in the operation of black and white. They don't see the gray. They're not seeing the positive, but I understand their trepidation. I understand their frustration. I understand their agitation. We all want it, and we want it now. When is now going to happen? So I get it. I get it. I understand it. I have to sit there and explain it to my audience all the time. I get it. I feel it. I want it now. I want it now so bad. I want to hear the gallows whispering in the wind. I want it now. Yes, I want it so much and so bad. But it has to be, I guess, in some way, as President Trump has pointed out, we have to do it equally and fairly, what they didn't do to me. And so everybody could see it. And whether those people who are not Trump fans, Trump supporters, or just anti-MAGA, or just they hate this country so bad, are ever going to what? They're ever going to process this in some way? They're probably not.
No, I
they'll
don't
be
think
agitated
they'll
and want to burn down the country.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're going to see that. Will it be quelled? Yeah, it'll be quelled. We're lining this up. We're lining this up. It's just piecing this together. So this is building to a crescendo. And then when that breaks, that dam breaks, everything else, it's going to fall into its place. I know patience is hard to have, all right, when you've been trying to figure out when everything is going to come into place. Yes, patience is very hard. Patience is not virtuous, okay? Patience comes from the lack of what? The idea that you want something that is so, let's just say, that you need to qualify it for yourself. You're hungry. It's like fast food. You have to have it. You have to have it now. It satisfies you for a certain period of time. Then you want more. That's the problem with patience. All right. Patience is always lacking. It's always wanting more. True patience comes from what? Idling. And that's where we are right now. We're not really sure how things are going to break, but the thing is, we are understanding that they are. We're getting more information. I was saying yesterday on my show, I was trying to tell people that with the economic situation, that I think President Trump should not go on Fox News and talk to pundits or spin doctors like Larry Kudlow should be pulled out of Fox News. He should be the economic czar. So he should be sitting in front of the White House to speak about all these different things that are happening. Don't have the Secretary of Treasury out there. You need an economic czar, not Peter Navarro, not this. Someone that's going to be able to be a person who's on TV, that can talk to the media, that's media savvy in some way. And I think in some way you can quell all this other stuff. He had it in the first term and a lot of levels with Kudlow, with Navarro and other people. But I think in some way, you don't keep the press secretary where she's at. You need what happened to the czar, the border czar? Where's he at? Okay. I mean, I don't want to see Stephen Miller all the time. He's in hiding. His family's got death threats left and right. There's stalkers after him, and the judges are throwing that out. They're trying to kill these people. What I'm saying is, in front of the White House, you need spokesmen and women to speak about economics, to speak about this stuff, legal, that may not be Todd Blanche, or that has to go on Bannon's show, or Ed Martin, Ted Knight, Mr. E.T. I'm talking about people individually, all right, that could share responsibility, speaking about the matters to the public and to us so they can convey this without having the viceroy all the time going on these different shows. Whether he's involved or not, I don't know. I want it to be systematic. I think that's the problem. We have a vacuous state of information, and that's what the hubbub, the fallout of going on with Laura Ingraham, okay, which was a never Trumper, a Christian Zionist who doesn't like President Trump, only likes him because he pushed the filibuster. Maybe she wants it. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she sees the entanglements, or maybe she realizes that the filibuster has to happen very soon or we're going to lose the House.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. I'm just looking at these comments and everything. Hold on.
No, that's fine.
Sorry. Tickle in the throat. You mentioned this a moment ago. It's official. The Trump administration has now designated, it took forever. Why this long? To maybe because they stumbled upon something that this group was planning on doing. They have designated Antifa groups as a foreign terrorist organization, now bring the full force of the federal government against them. The United States, in quote, will continue using all available tools to protect our nation from these anti-American, anti-capitalist, and anti-Christian terrorist groups, Secretary Rubio said. You know, I'm not a big Rubio fan, but I will just say this. The Trump administration has finally done what needs to be done and has labeled them as such. They are. That is.
It's time to go after them now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one thing. It's a prevailing argument is that when people say nothing's getting done, this is one example. This has been going on from the first administration.
Correct.
Okay. So I think it is, and it's been.
You think this is cutting them off at the pass if they were going to do something crazy?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to.
I think I agree with that. Yeah.
They're basically they're cutting them. They're cutting the legs from them very soon to go out and after it. Think about all the people that are not Antifa outside of Chicago that are attacking ICE right now, whether they're Antifa or not, or just crazed loans of citizens. And you have judges trying to defend this action, and that's why federal courts have been blocking with the injunctions that are going to be rendered that President Trump can put the military on actually state grounds
on their
to
heads.
What? Subvert the quell of attacking federal officers. The fact that we haven't got to it and that he really doesn't want to use the Insurrection Act tells me this guy is not a war guy. It tells me he doesn't want that because the semblance and discussion of using the Insurrection Act is a wartime operation. He wants the Supreme Court for everybody to see, all the pundits on the fake news media, to put that out, to proliferate that, and to digest that and says, the Supreme Court has given him the operation to what? Quell this insurrection without having to go that route. And I believe that's what he wants. That's what he wants to see. Because no matter what President Trump does, if history shows anything, that he has declared the Insurrection Act. Not like Papa Bush did in 92 with quelling down the LA riots, but they don't care because they didn't care about black people because they knew what was taking place in LA was the subversion of that because of Rodney King. They didn't care. And neither did the media at that time because they were racist in its toe. So they had no problem where people were like, well, we're seeing all these people just blow down and kill people. And then the Koreans that were defending their hometown, their home city, areas of LA that were on rooftops shooting black people that, there was no pushback because it was under an insurrection and anything went. That means habeas corpus was out the door. The key to understanding is this. If we are at this level, we are in a de facto state of war. I think President Trump wants to hear what the Supreme Court has to say. He wants to hear what what they want to say about the tariffs. He wants to hear what they're going to rule about if the tariffs go by the wayside. I think 5-4 majority decision. Alito will give the majority opinion. But if it goes the opposite way, he'll declare the Insurrection Act because economic security, as he said, as Scott Bessent said, is national security, and we will be in a crashing market. We will not be able to repay $3 trillion, okay? And just because the $37 trillion we're in debt that you think that the tariffs are going to pay for, good luck with that understanding the transition from the corporation back to the republic. If anybody thinks we're paying that back, I mean,
they're
honestly,
nuts.
You haven't understand President Trump in the 80s. What happened? He was at one point $900 million in debt, almost $1 billion. And he used to say, hey, the bums on the street are worth more money than I am. But what he did was he sold off the negative liquidity. How did he do it? Go back and look how he did it. Read his books. You'll see this is exactly what he's doing. He's bringing back the 80s understand about negative debt, negative equity, and selling it off. How is he selling it off? He's letting them fall by the wayside. You think JP Morgan and all these banks that were there at the White House last night, it was about 15 CEOs of major financial institutions were at the White House yesterday. What are they having discussed? No one saw that. No one heard anything about that. I'm sure we'll hear about it more later.
Yeah, I agree. I want to say this to everybody. I want to say thank you to Tia for the phone, Casey for the ship. If you guys want to help out, Brett, everybody watching, buy me a coffee / We All Rise. I know that's been put in both chats, all three chats. I want to thank everybody on YouTube, everybody on Rumble, and everybody on Pilled. Thank you so much. I do want to say that the holidays are coming up. If you want True Reporting merch. We got the hats, we got the collared shirt, we got the hoodies right there in front of you, all unisex, zip-ups, T-shirts, crew necks, whatever you want, we got it for you. Again, this is all made in America for patriots and anons who represent and support a free speech podcast. I will go ahead and drop that into the chats. And also, check out Noble Gold Investments. Hit them up, too, about those coins. That would be super sick. Take care of yourselves when it comes to that. You can just ask for some help when it comes to gold and silver. That's all you got to do. Hit them up. That would be so cool. And, yeah, do whatever you got to do, guys. I really do appreciate it. It's good to have Brett here on a Thursday. I'm glad he popped in and wanted to do this. I'm totally down, and
I miss doing stuff with you. We had years upon years of doing stuff together. And it's nice because I never had the luxury or opportunity to do that with you on YouTube. And now that you're back, it's kind of, it's kind of kinship. I mean, it's fantastic that you're able to bring back a lot of the old stalwarts and new people that are bringing on while you're still on pill.net and Rumble.
Absolutely.
It's great. And bringing all these people together and stuff. I think that's important and stuff, and the conversations I've had, people reach out to me on my show, on the We Are Right show. I'm on YouTube. I'm on pill.net. I'm on Rumble. People reach out to me all the time. It's like, dude, fantastic. Like the Tuesday show when we came back, fantastic. I have like a lot of people saying like that. It's like, missed
So
that,
cool.
this and that. And it's good to see the YouTube people because a lot of these names, I don't know who they are. So it's good to see in some way that, they're appreciative of the conversation. It's different now. We have to be careful. We have to gingerly walk certain subtext and syntax because they're always watching. They're always lurking.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't want to lose it because you misspoke about one little thing, because free speech isn't free. It's limited to a certain extent. And that's the world we live in, whether you like it or not.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you to Tia for the shades again. Guys, another 600 will get to 5,000 gold pills. That was the goal. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Help out with the gold pills. Help out with the merch. Help out with the Cash App. Money sign. Stream donation 17 to keep this baby afloat. I know we will. I trust in you guys. I love you guys, and I thank everybody for tuning in. Share the stream. Like it. Hit the notification bell so when we go live, you are here in the flesh. And just know that in the end, God wins. Peace.